Dear students, today we will deal a topic from chapter 9. The name of the chapter is Financial Management and the topic is meaning of capital structure, optimal capital structure and the factors affecting capital structure. Now, last year in business studies, we have studied one chapter, that is business finance. There we studied much in detail sources of finance, that is, firm can raise money from different sources and those sources are divided into number of factors. In this chapter, we will see how business firm manages debt and equity from the source of ownership. So, as we know, firm raises funds from different sources, and on the basis of ownership, the sources of business finance are broadly classified into two types. First one is owners fund and second one is borrowed funds. So we'll see what owners fund consists of and what borrowed fund consists of. Now owners fund retained earnings, that is earning retained with the firm, that is reserves created by the firm for future uncertainties, we call them as retained earnings. So this consists of owners fund consists of equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surpluses. In short, we call them as retained earnings. These funds we call them as owners fund. Borrowed funds can be in the form of loans, debentures, public deposits, etc. These may be borrowed from banks, other financial institutions, debenture holders, and public. So, owners' fund that is raised by way of issuing equity shares, by way of issuing preference shares, or earnings retained with the firms. That is what we call it as owners fund. Borrowed funds, we call borrowed funds because we borrow it from outside the firm, that is we borrow it from bank, financial institutions. There are people who invest funds in the form of debenture funds and public deposits, that is largely by public. So we call it as borrowed funds. So the capital structure of a company consists of, or it refers to, the mix between owners and borrowed funds. How much to be raised from owners fund and how much to be raised from borrowed funds, the mixture of owners fund and borrowed funds itself, we call it as capital structure. We can call owners fund as equity and borrowed funds as the debt henceforth. So when I say debt, it means it is borrowed funds which equity. It can be equity share capital, preference share capital, or retained earnings. So in short, we call them henceforth as debt and equity. So debt and equity differ significantly in their cost and riskiness for the firm. Right now, in the previous last year, in the same chapter, we have studied advantages and disadvantages of debt as well as equity. That is, what are the advantages of raising funds entirely through equity share, entirely through preference shares, or even through debenture shares. What are the advantages and disadvantages of retained earnings? We have studied much in detail, so we know what cost, that is, for example, when we borrow funds from debentures, we have a fixed obligation, that is payment of interest. When we borrow funds, when we raise funds by way of equity shareholders, then we need to pay dividend, right? So each factor or each source of fund has some cost and the risk associated with it. So debt and equity, that is why we say debt and equity differ significantly in their cost and riskiness for the firm. The cost of debt is lower than the cost of equity for a firm because the lender's risk is lower than the equity shareholder's risk, since the lender earns an assured return and repayment of capital, and therefore they should require a lower rate of return. As I have already said, debenture holders carry a fixed obligation, that is payment of interest, which is fixed and which has a fixed obligation on the firm, even if the compulsorily, and repayment of debenture capital is must. So they have, debenture holders have assurity of funds, so the cost of raising funds through debenture is quite low. They should require that is why they offer a lower rate of return or a lower rate of cost, that is interest. Additionally, interest paid on debt is deductible expenses for computation of tax liability, whereas dividends are paid out of after tax profit. Increased use of debt therefore is likely to lower the overall cost of capital of the firm, provided that the cost of equity remains unaffected. Now here we need to understand the difference between the equity and the debt. Now we have seen on equity we pay fixed interest, which is a fixed obligation, whether the firm earns profit or loss, incurs a loss, they have to pay fixed interest on debenture holders. But whereas in case of equity, there is no fixed obligation. Whenever the firm earns profit, they have the rate of dividend is also not fixed. Higher the profits, higher percentage of dividend will be paid. Lower the profits, lower rate of dividend will be paid. Now here when we are paying dividend, the dividend is paid, whatever is left after payment of tax, whatever profit is left, out of that profit the company pays the dividend. So if debenture capital is more, the overall cost of capital structure is also low. This is the advantage of issue of debt. Capital structure of a company thus affects. So that combination of debt and equity affects both, that is profitability, earning capacity of the firm, and the financial risk. Now there is one term which we need to understand in this chapter, that is optimal capital structure. Now what is optimal capital structure? When the proportion of debt and equity is such that it results in an increase in the value of equity share. When you have a perfect combination of debt and equity which increases the earnings on equity share, such capital structure we call it as optimal capital structure. A question may come for 2 marks. What is optimal capital structure? When the cost of your capital structure is minimum and the earnings what you are giving it to equity shares is maximum, then such capital structure we call it as optimal capital structure. In other words, all decisions relating to capital structure should emphasize on increasing the shareholders wealth, that is maximizing the shareholders wealth, that is increasing the market price of the shares. That capital structure we call it as optimal capital structure, that is increasing the shareholders wealth, and shareholders wealth is nothing but increase in the market price of the shares. Now there are different factors company considers before finalizing the capital structure. So keep it in mind, capital structure is nothing but the mix between combination of debt and equity itself, we call it as capital structure. So when they are deciding how much to raise from debt, how much to raise from choice of capital structure is cash flow position. Now in your book they have given when they have explained about the capital structure with different combinations, they have given one table that they have taken cases, case 1, case 2, case 3, and they have shown how earnings get increased if the rate of if amount raised through debenture increases, right? So that particular table, if you study and analyze, you will get to know the how combinations of different capital structure helps the firm to increase the earning capacity, that is earning per share. The first factor which affects the choice of capital structure is cash flow position. Size of projected cash flows must be considered before borrowing. So obviously, when a firm is borrowing, they should analyze their own cash flows in the firm. Cash flows must not only cover fixed cash payment obligations, but there must be sufficient buffer also. So when the firm is borrowing some amount, before borrowing they should not only see how much per month fixed cash expenses they have or fixed cash obligations they have, but to unforesee certain things, there should be a readily cash available in the firm. It must be kept in mind that a company has cash payment obligations for, first one, normal business operations. So in normal day to day activities, any obligation may come up. At that time, the firm should have a sufficient cash flow. For investment in fixed assets, so sometimes the firm need to replace the old machinery with the new one, or due to recent technology, some situation may come up that the firm has to install a new machinery. At that time also, firm should have sufficient cash flows. For meeting the debt service commitments, yes, a firm has a fixed obligation, that is payment of interest and repayment of the principal amount what they have borrowed. So when a firm is deciding its capital structure, they have to consider these three important aspects regarding cash flows. First one is normal business operation, second one is investment in fixed assets, and third one is meeting the fixed obligation, that is interest on debt capital and also the repayment of principal amount. Second one is interest coverage ratio, that is when the firm is raising funds or borrowing funds, they should first calculate the interest coverage ratio. That is, interest coverage ratio is calculated EBIT divided by interest, that is earnings before interest and tax divided by interest. The interest coverage ratio refers to the number of times earnings before interest and taxes of a company covers the interest obligation. Now here, higher the ratio, lower shall be the risk. So when you calculate your company's ICR, and if it is higher, then it says that the company has a lower risk of failing to meet its interest requirements. So this is what we call it as second factor, ICR, interest coverage ratio. Third one is debt service coverage ratio. Now this is a detailed study. If ICR fails, then the debt service coverage ratio can be calculated. Now this ratio takes care of the deficiencies referred in the interest coverage ratio. The cash profits generated by the operations are compared with the total cash required for the service of a debt. It means what is the capacity of the firm to earn profit, or the total profits are compared with how much money need to be spent to serve the debt. Now it is calculated as DSCR is equals to profit after tax, we call it as PAT. You need to add depreciation, interest and some non-cash expenses divided by preference dividend, interest plus repayment obligation. Now if the DSCR is higher, it indicates that the firm has, that is, better ability to meet cash commitments, and consequently the company's potential to increase debt component in its capital structure. Means higher the DSCR, it is better for the firm. It shows that they have a ability to meet its commitments and they can raise further money by way of debt. Fourth factor is return on investment. So obviously each company, when they are investing money, they calculate rate of return, how much rate they are going to get out of that particular investment. So higher the rate of return, the firm can have trading on equity to increase its earnings capacity, that is earnings per share. So higher the rate of return, the company can use trading on equity by raising the debt capital, which increases the earning per share. Again here it is earning per share is related to equity from the company. Next is cost of debt. A firm's ability to borrow at a lower rate increases its capacity to employ higher debt. So when the firm is raising more amount by way of debt, obviously the cost of debt will become low, right? So if cost of debt is low, the firm can raise maximum amount of money from the debt capital. Thus more debt can be used if debt can be raised at a lower rate. So obviously if a firm raises highest amount of capital from the debt capital, it has a lower rate of cost. Tax rate. Since interest is a deductible expenses, cost of debt is affected by the tax rate. Obviously we pay dividend after paying the tax, so whatever is left, that is what we call it as earnings after interest and tax. It means that is the amount left to the equity shareholders, but we pay taxes, we pay interest before we pay tax. So tax rate is also very important. Next is seventh one is cost of equity. Now stock owners expect a rate of return from the equity which is commensurate with the risk they are assuming. Suppose if the firm raising too much amount from the debt, the risk of equity shareholders increases. So if the risk of equity shareholders increases, obviously the firm need to pay higher rate of dividend. It is for this reason that the company cannot use debt beyond a point. So when more the debt, more risk associated with the. After a certain point, company cannot raise more amount from the debt, from the borrowed sources, that is from debt capital. Otherwise a situation will come where your earnings per share is more, but the risk associated with it is also more. Eighth one is flotation cost. Flotation cost is nothing but the cost which is associated while raising the funds from different sources. Sources in the sense equity share capital, preference share capital, etc. The process of raising resources also involves some cost. Public issue of shares and debentures require considerable expenditure. So when the company is, there is a procedure when the company is raising funds through equity share capital or raising funds through preference share capital, the company have some expenditure, they need to spend some money in the process, for the process which is involved in raising the funds. But it is not the same as in case of debenture capital. So when a company is borrowing a loan from a financial institution, say from a bank, there is a less process and the cost of flotation is very low. So flotation cost also matters. Higher the flotation cost for a particular source, lower the amount the company can switch from that particular source to the other source. So these considerations may also affect the choice between debt and equity and hence the capital structure. Ninth one is risk consideration. Use of debt increases the financial risk of a business. Financial risk refers to a position when a company is unable to meet its fixed. In the previous last year, we have studied advantages and disadvantages of each source. Now when we pay dividend, when the firm has sufficient amount of profits, then only we pay the dividend. When we raise money by way of debentures, whether the company is earning profit or incurring a loss, the company has a fixed obligation to pay the interest. So payment of fixed interest can have a permanent obligation on the company, which is quite risky. Apart from the financial risk, every business has some operating risk, also called business risk. Business risk depends upon fixed operating cost. So you have certain obligations every month you need to pay, or every year you need to pay. Such cost we call it as fixed operating cost. So if the firm has higher fixed operating cost, the risk is also high, and it is vice versa. So higher fixed operating cost results in higher business risk, means compulsorily company need to maintain its earning to pay its fixed obligation. And if companies fixed operating cost is low, then there is no matter to worry, company can manage with its earning because it has low fixed operating cost. So risk consideration is very important, especially when it comes to debt capital, that is debenture capital. It has fixed obligation, that is payment of interest and repayment of principal amount. Issue further debt. To maintain flexibility, it must maintain some borrowing power to take care of unforeseen circumstances. So here we can take an example of optimal capital structure. Now, optimal capital structure is the best combination of equity and debenture. Suppose if the firm has not used its full capacity of raising debt, it has kept some amount of debt to be raised in future, then it can enjoy certain advantages, but it means that that particular capital structure is quite flexible. Suppose if the firm, as it is given here, if the firm has used its full debt raising capacity, then that capital structure we cannot say that it is a flexible capital structure, because in future if the firm wants to raise money by way of debt, then it has already used it cannot. So a capital structure must be such that whenever it wants debt it can raise it. So some debt capital amount can be kept it, so that later it can be used it for future uncertainties. Next is control. Now when you issue capital through debt, there is the debenture holders, they are not the owners, it is a borrowed fund, they don't have voting rights. So entire control lies in the hands of the company. There is no dilution of ownership and management for the company. But if the capital structure is raised by, maximum capital is raised by equity share capital, then there is a risk associated of dilution of management and of debt and equity. 12th is regulatory framework. Every company operates within a regulatory framework provided by the law. Example, public issue of shares and debentures have to be made under SEBI guidelines. So whenever a company issuing equity shares as well as debentures, they need to take prior permission of Security Exchange Board of India. It's a regulatory authority in India which controls all activities of the companies related to issue of shares and debentures. So raising funds from banks and other financial institutions require fulfillment of other norms. So when you are raising funds from the other sources other than public issue and debentures, there are less procedure involved. So the relative ease with which these norms can be met or the procedures completed may also have a bearing upon choice of the source of finance. So if procedure of raising funds by public issue and debentures is too complicated, then obviously companies will think of borrowing funds from financial institutions, loans, etc. So regulatory framework also matters in finalizing the capital structure. Then stock market conditions. If the stock markets are bullish in the sense, if the share prices are increasing, equity shares are more easily sold even at a higher price. So obviously, when the prices of the shares are increasing in the market, you can sell your stock easily in the market. So use of equity is often preferred by the companies in such situations. So if markets are increasing or markets are rising, at that time, but if the markets are undergoing bearish phase, a company may find raising of equity capital more difficult and it may opt for debt. So if prices of shares are decreasing in the market, then obviously companies will prefer debt capital. The stock market conditions often affect the choice between the two. Last one is capital structure of other companies. A useful guidelines in the capital structure planning is debt equity ratios of other companies in the same industry. So companies, before deciding their own capital structure, they compare the debt equity mix of other companies also. But here it is advisable for the companies not to blindly follow the capital structure of other companies unless without analyzing the situation. So these are some of the factors. This is a very important topic from the point of view of exam. A question may come for a POQ, that is practical oriented question. Write any 10 factors affecting capital structure. You have to only name them, and a lengthy answer may also come for 8 marks. Explain the factors affecting capital structure of a company. Thank you.